This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with code GOLFSGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And finally, College Hoops is back. If you aren't already subscribed to the College Experience for their Daily Picks podcast, they break it down. They do an amazing job over at the College Experience. Some of the best content on the entire YouTube planet. They just do it every single day. It's amazing stuff. So go over to there and give them a 5-star rating, please, because only you can prevent corporate gambling from taking over. All right, we are back. The betting show at the Golf Gambling Podcast. And I know I sent out a tweet of guess the co-host, because this is going to be my co-host for the foreseeable future going forward. A very special guest, a great friend, someone that you may know, you might not know, but you're going to meet them right now. Without this man, I would not be doing this for a living, truthfully, because there was my initial co-host who got me into this scene. So without further ado, I welcome on my friend Dom Cintorino from Fantasy Points from various other outlets. Dom, thank you for joining me, and thank you for let's just do this shit. Thank you for being here.
You got it. Thanks for having me. We're back. Let's do this.
We're back. Yeah, Dom and I started off at Fantasy Points. Just to give you a quick introduction, what was that? Maybe 3 years ago.
I think 2021. I think
doing a very similar style show. We would just go through the odds board, the DFS board, and just talk about golfers, give it out winners. Just like, so it's great. We already have chemistry. We already know each other, and like we already know how. It's going to be easy. It's going to be seamless transition. Obviously, shout out Steve, shout out Capper. They've been doing this show for a really long time, and I know they have a loyal fan base, but we're going to do our best to fill their shoes and try to be as great as possible. So thank you guys for listening, and let's do this shit. So you ready to get into it, Dom?
Let's do it.
So we're going to talk about the golf tournament this week. That's what we're here to do. The WWT Championship. I keep calling it the WWE Championship just for no reason. It kind of just rolls off the tongue. But we're going to go through like the odds board. And then at the end talk about some best bets. So you wake up Monday morning, you see Max Grazerman, Doug Gim, and Cam Young as the three favorites. Max Grazerman seems to be the overwhelming favorite. Personally, I did not have any inkling that Max Grazerman would be the favorite. I know, like, if you're not following golf super crazily and you log on, you see that, you're kind of like, what the hell are we doing here, Max Grazerman? So what were your thoughts on seeing that?
I was shocked, obviously. I mean, I know he's had quite the run here over the last few months, but still, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, someone has to be the favorite in this field.
Right.
So I wouldn't want to be the one setting these odds, but luckily we're the ones that get to kind of navigate through it and make our picks ourselves. So
yeah, and I saw like on Monday morning, a lot of people were complaining that the odds were so bad. But honestly, you're getting a favorite starting at 16-1. I feel like that opens the board a little bit. Like, obviously, there's no big name to really shorten the odds. If there's like a 4-1 guy, it really shortens everything up a little bit. But the top guy at 16, like, truthfully, I did not think we would get, not that I'm going to bet Cam Young, but I did not think we'd get like a 2 in front of Cam Young's name in this field. Right. I know we haven't seen him in a while, but still, I honestly don't think these odds are that bad for like what we have to work with. So like, I really, like, down the board, I know we're going to spray some names, but starting with a 16-1 guy, I don't think you're going to go to Grazerman. Do you have any? No, you're not going to bet him.
No, I'm not. I'm definitely not going to Grazerman. I would have a hard time getting to Cam Young even. But if you look at it, like you said, getting a 2 in front of Cam Young, so getting him in the 20s, I think I see a 22. I mean, from like 30-1 to 70-1, that range is just massive with like guys who are average, basically.
Yeah, just a bunch of losers that we're all going to bet on, and because there's like some value on them. Like, I'm so down.
I think that's the only reason the odds board is a little bit difficult is because they're all jammed into that range. Yeah. So you think you have some sleeper guy down the board and he's 50 or 60, and
when he's usually like 150,
I like seem to fall into that range.
Yeah, but like, it's weird because Cam Young was like a similar number at like the Valspar. Cam Young was a way worse number at like the John Deere type event. So we've seen him be in this range or even higher. I was shocked to see him with a 2 and not being the odds-on favorite, even though we haven't seen Cam Young since the playoffs. And it was a T43 at the BMW and then a T61 at the St. Jude. So he's not necessarily coming in good form or anything, but he has had time off to just, I guess, what could Cam Young be doing in the time off? Is he practicing golf? Maybe, like, I wouldn't be shocked if he wasn't.
I wouldn't be shocked if he wasn't either. But yeah, I don't know. It's been a little while for him. So it's also a weird type of player to have in this field, like you said, and also to not be the favorite just based off of what he's done over the past year and a half, 2 years. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I have this overwhelming, me and my other friends have this overwhelming narrative that Cam Young hates golf and he only plays it because like he grew up playing it and he's just naturally good at it. Like he doesn't feel like he ever cares to win. He just wants to be out there and cash his T8 and cash a nice check and go. The only time I've ever seen this man smile ever is when he like is near his wife or his kid, which is like a great reason to smile. But on the golf course, it's just like nothing. And he's just there because his dad makes him. Like his dad's walking with him with his little umbrellas, his umbrella cane almost, and he's just walking with him just because he has to be. So
yeah.
I don't think Cam Young cares, and I don't think either of us are gonna go to him. So let's go down a little bit. Talk about guys like Doug Gim, Matty Schmid, Harris English, Bo Hostler, JJ Spawn, this like 25 to 30 range. These are some names that we could start talking about as potential ads. Anyone in here that you want to at least mention or talk about, or maybe that?
Doug Gim and Matty Schmid rated out extremely well for me, but as short as the numbers are, I think I'm really going to start in the 30s when it comes to outrights this week. So like I said, they're obviously rating out well for everybody. I think they're going to be extremely popular when it comes to like DFS. I'm sure once everyone's cards get finalized, you'll see Gim and Schmid on quite a bit of them, but I don't think you're getting a whole lot of value for the caliber of player that you're betting at 22-1.
So I was on Doug Gim at the Shriners, and he obviously almost won that event, finished one stroke back. And then he was super chalky the following week at the Zozo. And for the first time in at least a year or two, where Doug Gim was sub 40-1, like 35-1, and then he loses strokes on approach for the first time since March. Like that's what happens when you get these. I tweeted this out yesterday. You get these like average golfers at an inflated price, and like, oh, we're gonna chase him because he's in at one good runner up. Immediately does what he never does. But I do think he'll bounce back in terms of like ball striking and approach. But still, like the 25, I don't think we can go there on Doug.
No,
sadly.
It's a lot of the stuff too is recent form for these guys, and how sustainable is it? Probably not very, because they've never done it in their careers. I know it's the fall, anything can happen. These fields are a little bit weak, but it's just a very low number to lay for guys who aren't proven winners and aren't proven consistent over time. So,
did you see that video of off topic of Justin Jefferson's like chains and earrings? And that was pretty insane. Like I'm not really a jewelry guy, but I'm not a jewelry guy at all. But I was like, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, I did see that.
Like you wish you had that.
Yeah. Also, no chains, but a little jealous when I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, I had to mention it because you got the Jettas behind you. But like, all right, we have to talk about the Vikings real quick, because if you don't know Dom, he's one of the only Vikings fans in the world. So, what's the thoughts on the season so far?
9 more games, maybe 10 more games with Sam Darnold, and then we're on to JJ McCarthy. That's kind of where I'm at. It's
he's
been
doing
fun.
Well though.
It's been fun, but I don't think they can make a run unless they somehow win the NFC North, and I don't see the Lions losing more than 2 more games.
Well, I like that you have realistic hope. So like you can't really be disappointed if they don't like pan out. So
yeah, their win total before the year was 6.5. So this is all just a bonus for me. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I mean, Darisaw out for the year. McCarthy went out for the year in preseason, obviously. Lost 2 cornerbacks before the preseason even started. So it's been a lot of hurdles to jump over thus far. We're just getting into November. So I'd love to see a playoff win. I think
That would be
just
nice.
one is
I would
fine. I mean,
do a lot for that.
I'm not in a spot where I'm like lose out and get a top 15 draft pick. I'm not there,
No.
obviously. I'd like to watch a playoff game, but I don't see them winning more than one.
At least you have something to like get excited for on Sundays. I don't even like want to watch football. Like I don't. I'm just like
Panthers just got a 4th round pick at least for
great. I'm so happy we got a 4th round pick. I can now have the rest of my Tuesday and enjoy. But yeah, I just wanted to mention the Vikings real quick before we moved on. So you mentioned Matty Schmid. Yeah, he's playing great golf, but I will say I do not see Matty Schmid going T16, 5th, T3, win. T3,
No.
I think if he could play well, he could T10, sure. But I just don't think he's going to do any better than a 5th, 3rd. Like I don't see that getting even better. So just based off like numbers alone, this not like this isn't Rory McIlroy, this isn't Scotty Scheffler, it's freaking Matty Schmid. He's playing great golf. There's nothing bad to say. I think he'll be a decently owned DFS piece, but I think it's safe DFS piece. But this is a betting show, and I do not think either of us are going to bet him in any market because his value is going to be inflated in matchups. His numbers are going to be inflated in positionals. So therefore, I think we're going to just be a hard out on Matty Schmid.
Yeah, and if you look at his back-to-back top 5s, I mean, he was insane on the greens when it comes to putting, and obviously as many birdies as that are going to be falling this week, you want somebody who can get hot with the putter, but at the same time, I'm looking for somebody who's been like over the top elite with the irons, putting it close to the hole, and scoring low on a lot of these courses. And it's not like historically he's some unbelievable putter. I mean, he's been really good off the tee and really good on the greens. I just don't know that's gonna push him through. Like if you look, I looked at EVR heading into his win last year here. His irons were just insane. I mean, he was going crazy.
His betting number last year, I think I had him last year in this event. He was like 90-1 for no reason. What is he now? What is he now? He's 35. 35. Like that, I feel like honestly, that's like not a bad number on EVR in this field, but his form is like bad. His form is like really, really bad coming in, and like EVR is not going to go back to back. But my thing with EVR is sometimes, right, at least recently, he's been priced 20 to 30 in his fields, which is like, I feel like that's somewhat fair, but I'm not going to bet him there. Like I want to bet him when he's like 50 plus, 70 plus, like, cause he could do it in no form and just like pop. He's talented, but I didn't want to go do the EVR thing, especially not back to back in this tough form.
No, but if you go just in front of him is actually where I start my card out with Keith Mitchell at 33-1.
You're buying Keith off the missed cuts.
Back to back.
Tell us on Keith. That's good. That's an interesting take because no one's going to be on that. So
I know.
Let's hear this.
Just looking at the top of the board, I mean, his name stuck out to me right away. So I looked
as
into
what
it
his name sticks out to you as what a massive loser.
I view him higher than the people he's surrounded by.
No, I agree.
So, as buried as he is, it's not like he's some like guy who just wins every event or whatever. But like I was saying, EVR won at 27 under last year. So the one thing I always go to when we get a birdie fest is par breakers. So it's just like the percentage of holes that you play under par. So it could be an eagle, a birdie, albatross, whatever the case may be. He ranks second on the PGA Tour this season, just behind Scotty Scheffler. Look at some of the events that he had earlier this year. T9 at the Amex, shot 10 under in the final round. And that was another birdie fest. I think he finished in the mid-20s there. So I just feel like you're getting really good value in comparison to the field, and I would much rather lay 33-1 with Keith Mitchell than high 20s, mid-20s with a lot of these other guys.
No, that is true. And Keith's finally at like I don't even know if it's a fair price, but he's not at like a peak price, which he's been to start the fall. He's been like favorites of these events. I know he almost won the Sanderson. But Keith, it was so weird because last year his stats were so good all year, but he never like posted amazing finishes. They were just like it was like I was like, are these stats fake? Because why does Keith Mitchell's stats always like how is he getting 4 on approach and he never gains an approach? and it was just the putter was bad. It was just so weird with Keith Mitchell. I don't know if I can get there. I don't know if I could do it. And also to mention, bring back Cam Young again. He's blacklisted for me until 2025 because he didn't play hole 1 at the BMW Championship at 4 under par. If you don't remember, hole 1 was a 600-yard par 5 that played about 60 yards downhill at elevation. So it was virtually like a 510-yard par 5 that everyone was birdieing, and Cam Young just made a mockery of it, or the opposite of a mockery of it. He played it as a joke. So I'm done with Cam Young. Fuck you, Cam Young. We'll get back to you in 2025. But I like where your head's at with Keith. I just had to go on that quick aside.
Yeah. You got to get it out while we're up at the top of the board still. So
can't talk about Cam Young when we're in the 70s. Although I might, because I just hate him so much. So Keith Mitchell, I don't know if I could do it, but I like how you're going to be different there. I want to talk about guys like Beau Hossler, JJ Spawn. Beau Hossler loves the fucking fall. This man shows up for every fall event year after year and plays well. He plays all right. Now, looking at his stats, he's kind of hitting the ball like you or I, but that's Beau Hossler. Like, that's what he does. He hits the ball like shit, and he'll make some putts. But on a golf course like this, where you could just send it off the tee, you're going to get a ton of drivers and then get hot with the putter, hopefully. There is a path for Beau Hossler to play well. I don't know if I can bet a 25-1 Beau Hossler, especially in horrific ball striking form, but I think there's a way for him to get there.
Yeah, no, I don't mind that at all, honestly. I mean, like you said, he kills it in the fall, and every number is going to be ugly around here, so you might as well just go with who you want.
Yeah, and like if you bet one of these guys, even Keith, like you have a ton of room to finish out a card and build a bunch of guys. So yeah, I'm not saying I'm gonna get there with Beau, but I don't mind it. A golfer that I really do like, or I like these next two golfers, JJ Spawn and Harry Hall. I definitely like Spawn more than Hall. I do think Hall is going to be very popular for good reason. But Spawn, the dude has just been fucking on approach since March, since like Houston or one of those random March events. He's lost, I think, on approach in one event since March, and that was the event where he withdrew 2 or 3 starts ago, and then he bounced back with a great week. Like if Spawn was 22-1, like next to Schmid, no one would bat an eye. I know he's not far from there, but I'm down for some JJ.
Yeah.
Like he loves a
outside, like you said, outside of that withdrawal, he hadn't missed a cut since the end of May, it looks like. So approach is all in the green, and we're getting a pretty good price.
Yeah, and like this man, he's won before. He's won on a Birdie Fest. TPC, he won on a TPC course, but like same style. And like I know this is maybe a little bit long for JJ Spawn's liking, but he's not going to miss fairways here. And then if you get him on a flat lie, just in the fairway, his irons are hot. I don't care if he has to hit a little bit longer of irons. I think JJ Spawn will be relevant this week. But how about Harry Hall? Like, you like him at all?
I do, yeah. He was one of the first guys who kept popping up for me, but
obviously had the win earlier this year. I just don't know if a full-on birdie fest kind of fits what he's able to do, is where I was at.
Which you mentioned before about Harry, about styles of putters. Harry Hall's a great putter, and he gains 3 to 5 every week. But you want someone who's just being okay with the putter and have a pop week. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and just his approach hasn't been where I would prefer it to be. If you're gonna have to go 25 to 30 under and win an event, can only make so many putts. So it's I just don't think the approach is where I would like it to be for Harry Hall for me to be laying this number.
I honestly do like Harry Hall. I just think I've been watching a lot of the fall, and he looks like a different golfer. He looks a lot more confident. He looks more comfortable swinging his swing. So I can be convinced, and we're going to go through some bets at the end, but I definitely like Harry Hall in some markets. It's still Tuesday afternoon. We have some time, but I'm going to say I do like Harry Hall in some markets. So let's get to this 30s range. Anyone else down here you want to mention? Anyone else sub 30? Ben Griffin, Matt McNeely, or those guys losers?
No, Spawn and Hall. Those were two guys that I was looking at. I obviously haven't pulled the trigger yet on either of those two, but when it comes to inside 30, there's not a whole lot else going for me. So
no. Yeah, I agree. All right. Let's get into this 30s range, but before we get into it, quickly, I need to talk about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, college hoops, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. Boosttober is upon us, which means you're getting a spooky amount of profit boots and much more. I'm going to be making my Underdog picks on all the flex entries, so you can see them at sgpn.com with the blog. So sign up with code SGPN to claim your first time deposit offer up to $1K and a special pick. Promo code SGPN Underdog Fantasy. And then Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom models and get lines on totals, props, and more. Build your own model, copy one of theirs, or press build a model for me, and Rhythm will give you predictions for every game, every prop you need, myriad of stats, myriad of research tools. So no promo code. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And then finally, we're brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best business in the U.S. They've been around for 30 plus years. Easily deposit using crypto and get lightning fast payouts. U.S. players are always welcome. A bet that I like on BetUS, I will be talking about that at the end of the show. Dom and I will both be talking about some bets that we like. So go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN to let them know that we sent you. BetUS is America's favorite sportsbook. All right. Thanks for listening to those ad reads. It's time to get to the 30s. There's a golfer that I like around 35-1. His name is Tom Hoge. You ever heard of him?
Heard of him. Yep.
PGA Tour winner Tom Hoge is not in the best of form off the tee, which I do worry about. But with these big fairways, he's going to hit them. And then kind of like the same thing with what's his name, JJ Spawn. You get him on a flat lie, you get him in the fairway. I trust Tom Hoge with the irons more than a lot of people on the planet. So if he could find the iron form, we know he can make birdies. We know he could pop at a random time. 35-1 on the PGA Tour winner in a weak field. I think there's worse bets to make.
There's definitely worse. Yeah. I don't mind Hoge. And again, when we get a weak field like this, it doesn't always mean that recent form is the guy that's going to win or whatever the case may be. I mean, you want to look at golfers who are historically proven, historical winners, and Hoge kind of fits that mold.
Yeah, no, I agree. I haven't pulled the trigger on Hoge yet, but it's something I could do. So the rest of this 35 range, obviously we talked about Keith already. We got Cooch up there, Sam Stevens, Johnny Vegas, Taylor Moore off of a recent good week, and that basically rounds out the 30s range. Who in here are you eyeing on? Who in here you think could have a good week?
30s, I'm kind of out on. I mean, Eckroat was one that I looked at a little bit.
Like Eckroat. I see him at 40.
Yeah. But the next guy that I have exposure to is Daniel Berger. Actually, I think I'm.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
Go back to him. Nothing's changed. I mean, it's been up and down 2024 for Berger. He's right outside the top 125. I know he played I think last year on the medical extension. Or whatever the case may be. He's kind of just backed his way into a tour card over the last 2-3 years, it seems like. But he's showed me enough over the past month to kind of buy back in at 50-1, same as Hoge. I mean, it's a golfer who has won before. When he's on. And like I said, when you get a field like this with a bunch of guys who are kind of unproven, it's good to see that Berger's kind of came around, and he's been pretty good off the tee over the last month or so.
Yeah, and he's gained on approach in 2 of his last 3. He's been good on the greens. I feel like he's just turned a corner and found something in his game. I do prefer him on Bermuda, but it's a good number. I don't know. I don't know if Daniel Berger can get to -27, but I feel like that was an outlier score. Like the winner does not have to be that low. Right. But can Berger get to -20 around there? Sure. So I don't mind that. And it's a decent number for the field. Like Berger after one solid week at the Sanderson Farmer, I believe it was, he was down to 25 in some spots. So I think just a good price on Berger. I also like what you said about Austin Eckroat. He's just a golfer who, when he finds the approach game, he can win. And he did that in Palm Beach. He found the approach game for a short period of time and then popped and won. So it's not really the same style of golf as we see at the Honda than we do here. But I think Austin Eckroat is just like a good golfer. Like he's like better than the guys around him, and he's young and can. If Austin Eckroat won twice in about a year, no one would be that surprised. Like he's just good. Like, he's just good. So
yeah,
I
agree.
I like where your head's at with Eckroat for sure.
How do you feel about the Neil Shipley situation? This being his last sponsor exemption until he kind of has to figure out Monday Qs or figure out other ways to get in. I saw he's got to finish, I think, solo 8th to get short-term membership. So I don't know if that means we just throw a top 10 on him. Like if you believe in Neil Shipley, and I mean, I think he has it in him. I mean, he's got a lot to play for. When you see guys kind of pressed, I mean, he could have chosen to use the sponsor exemption pretty much anywhere from now until the end of the year, and he's kind of choosing to use it here. So maybe we throw a top 10 on him and hope that he can get that short-term membership, which would eventually elevate him into the top 125, I would assume.
I mean, Neil Shipley's a gamer. I really do like Neil Shipley, and this man has been playing really well on the PGA Tour Americas, which is one of like the PGA Tour minor league tours. Basically, he's finished T13 or better in 3 of his last 4 starts there. And at the end of the day, weak field. Like it's not like he's playing the Masters again here. Like he's playing a pretty shit field, and this man is making the most of his opportunities in the last year. So. Why expect anything less? I mean, what do we got in a top 10 number for Shipley? Like you said, I see 4.5 to 1. Like I think that's fair. I think that's a good bet, especially if he needs it. He knows he needs it. Like I do worry about him making a ton of birdies. I really do. I think he's more of like a difficult conditions guy, but he hasn't done anything where we're like, oh, this guy can't do it. So I think Neil Shipley can definitely make some noise and make you some money in some fashion.
Yeah. No, that's kind of where I'm at as well. And I'm not sure I would do a outright exactly on him at 50, 55 or whatever you get him at. But you lay almost 5 to 1 for a top 10. I think that's more than
another golfer I want to mention in this 40s range now is Rico Horry, a golfer who is an absolute ball striking savant, ball striking machine, and he's found something with the putter again. He did this in the late summer time where he was just hitting it well, and then went on like a streak of 4 or 5 weeks in a row, gaining a little bit on the greens, and he almost won the Bake Disco Championship. So I can see him finding another run. I know this is a lot of birdies for him to make, but if you're telling me a golfer of Hoey's ball striking standard is gaining strokes on the green, I can be convinced. I could definitely be convinced.
Yeah, he's another guy that popped up for me as well. I feel like he'll be a little bit popular, but rightfully so.
Yeah, he makes a ton of sense. Now we get down to some names that some of these guys are going to miss the cut. Some of these guys will probably T10. So from like Patrick Rogers, Patrick Fishburne, Adam Svensson, great number. Mike Kim off of a great finish. Jacob Bridgman, PGA Tour winner 2 times. Nico Echeverria. Anyone in that range that catches your eye?
I actually go to Joe Highsmith.
Joey Bucket Hats. I like him too.
I had him top 30 a few weeks ago. I forgot which event, but it was laying like almost 2 to 1. But like I said about looking at par breakers and guys who score, surprisingly, he's 13th on the PGA Tour this season. He's made a late surge with 4 straight made cuts, 3 top 20s with a T6 at the Black Desert. So also when you're looking at the FedEx Cup fall standings, he's sitting at 126th. I don't see Highsmith slowing down and not regaining his membership, getting inside that top 125, no matter what it takes, especially the way he's playing. So I'm comfortable throwing him in on my card as an outright.
I love that because I'm right there with you. I guess that ruined some of the end of the show, but he was one of my long shot guys, Joey Bucket Hats, and he's done it on Pass Ballon before. Like he's done it on these surfaces. He's hit the ball well. He can do it in these resort style windier conditions, possibly. Down, I second everything that you say. I actually did not. If we were going to be aligned on someone, I did not think it was going to be Joe Highsmith, but here we are. What a way,
There we
what a
are.
way to start the show. But I do like Joe Highsmith, and then another guy in this like mid 40s range, Patrick Fishburne. I've been a hard out on Patrick Fishburne for a while, but you get him on a golf course where he can hit his driver almost 400 yards, which he might do this week, and then from there, give yourself a ton of wedges. Like he has an elite skill set, which is the driver. He's not great anywhere else, but you got to pick and choose in this range. You got to be good at something. And Fishburne was just giga chalk a few weeks ago back in Utah. He had multiple top 3 finishes to finish off the season, and he kind of faltered a little bit. Now his numbers dropping a little bit. I don't think he's a winner though. I really don't. But you got to pick someone, and I don't mind him at 40-1. Like I feel like Svensson and Fishburne, like at a similar number. Svensson's a PGA Tour winner who's proven it for longer.
Yep.
But I feel like that's like a weird thing. Like, why is Svensson not higher? So is DraftKings sharp? I'm gonna say they are and run with the Fishburne thing.
Yeah. Yep. Just another rookie who's trying to fight for a spot. I'm sure I haven't looked at his fall standings, but I can't imagine he's too high.
No.
86. He's pretty comfortable.
Yeah. What about I mean, I don't like him, but Charlie Hoffman being 60-1 is just a funny thing to look at on the odds board.
I couldn't even imagine thinking about that.
This isn't the Waste Management Phoenix Open. We will wait for Charlie Hoffman. But I do like Justin Lauer and 55-1. My thing with Justin Lauer is I like him on Birdie Fest plus big courses, like a Birdie Fest on a big golf course, which is what this is. So I'm not going to overthink that. That's when I bet Justin Lauer, and not that he's won, but he's done well in the positional market. So that's my thing with Justin Lauer. So anyone else around this like 50 to 70 range before we get into like some long shots?
No, not really 50 to 70. I mean, Justin Suh, I'm
a Suh guy.
Like in the top 20 more than anything. I can't get there with the outright. I'm not going to lie. I was completely wrong about him heading into the year. I had some high hopes. I've always,
because he showed good things before that. That's fair take.
He did last fall. Actually, at this event last fall was one of his better starts on the PGA Tour. He was solo 4th.
Really?
So,
okay. Good to know.
I'm guilty for being way too high on Suh heading into the season, but here we are, 4th in approach at Shriners, while still finishing outside of the top 40. So
that's a good nugget, Dom.
Kind of look at that when guys pop on approach and don't end up finishing very highly. So throwing a top 20, like I said, at 3-1 is worth a look. He also popped at Barracuda, which is the scoring gets a little bit lower, and he finished T11 earlier this year. So.
And fun fact, this is the site of his best career approach week, best career ball striking week. So that's good vibes. That is good vibes.
Really good vibes for Justin Suh.
Wow. I think I like where your head's at with Justin Suh.
And he's another guy who's was supposed to be elite. Like he was supposed to be.
Yeah. He was
that next class of elite golfers, and he just kind of fell on his face.
And he can gain 27 strokes putting. Like he has that in the bag. He can putt lights out. So Justin Suh, and he's got good vibes heading here. I do like it. So, and Alex Smalley is going to be chalky this week. Are you going to take the Smalley route, or are you going to?
I'm not going Smalley.
I think he'll play well. I do think he'll play well because he is a guy who needs to get his card. He needs motivation, and he's 3 strike cuts for the second time in 2024 is kind of like seems like he's back because Smalley was good 2 years ago. I mean, average, and then he had a really bad year.
Yeah,
I think he's finding something, but I don't know. I'm not going to be a part of it in any market. I'm just going to let it play out. But I think he'll make the cut and play the T20 range. I think he'll play all right.
Yeah.
What could you get on a Suh top 20? Let's see.
I got
260.
3-1.
3-1. Wow. That could be a good bet. It could be generational wealth, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like 70-1's kind of short for an outright for him, but plus 300 on MGM, and then you can even get plus 115 on a top 40.
I do like in this range Alejandro Tosti. This man led the field in birdies at the Shriners.
He's on my list.
This is a course where this is a toasty course for sure. Send it as far as you can off the tee, and then just go make some birdies, Hondro. Just do your thing. So
this is literally a course. You look at the photos and you're like,
toasty.
Even my worst slices, I think I could catch part of this.
Yeah, and like he's not really like when he's on, he's both long and straight, but he doesn't even need to be straight. He just send it. He hits the ball a absolute mile, which we all know he does, and
yeah,
he will aim at every single flag. Like it doesn't matter if the flag is next to like a lake, like an inch from, he will aim at that flag. So that's what you need. You need that mentality on a golf course like this and a style of golf like this.
Yeah, no, Toasty was on my list for that exact reason. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's top 5 on the tour this season in driving distance, and like you said, let it fly and let the rest play out from there.
So I want like I want Toasty to finish T5 or or be dead last. I don't want anything in between. Just outright only for Toasty. Just like either be all the way in or all the way out. I'm down for Toasty at 80-1. I think it's a fine number.
Top 40 plus 120.
I mean, I said not anything else, but like I think he'll just do that. But it's risky. It's risky
because that way when he's like T10 heading into Sunday and shoots 4 over, he still might be able to backdoor top 40.
True. All right, we're getting to this 100 range before we round it out and go through some bets. Anyone you like 100 plus before we get into like the best bets?
Joel Damon.
Oh, I hate Joel Damon. Sell me on him.
So, like I said, I'm kind of honing in on approach, and he's been pretty lights out with the irons this fall. He's making cuts to an extent, but doing absolutely nothing with them. So, I mean, he's literally right on the inside of the top 125. I think let me see. Joel Damon's 124th, so a little added motivation to kind of hang on to the 50 guys or whatever it is chasing him for that top 125 spot as the season kind of winds down. But proximity to the hole was actually the one thing that he just kept popping on for me, like top 5 in the field over, I think, 2 of the last 3 events that I looked at that he played. So when we have greens as big as these that we're going to see this week, I want someone who's going to throw it close and probably sprinkle an outright, but
I mean, Joel Damon's been a pro for 8 years, and he's coming off of his 6th best approach week of his career. So that's a decent sized sample of him, and he just had a really, really good week. So
I'm mainly
I like it.
Top 40 at plus 130 is going to be one of my favorite bets this week, honestly.
I like that better.
It spoiled the best bet segment, but that's where I'm going to lean with Joel Damon as opposed to being really confident in his outright. I mean, I'll still probably sprinkle at 150, but top 40 is kind of where I'm sitting at.
I just never get him right, so I'll leave that one to you, because whenever I do Joel, like he just has one of those +4 through 9 weeks. I'm like, what are we doing here, Joel? And that's when he's in a featured group too. I'm like, oh, I get to watch Joel play. I bet him at 120-1, and then he's 4 over in the next 7 holes. So I'm gonna leave that, Joel, to you. So let's get into the best bets segment. I think 3 outrights, a matchup, and a positional. So we'll just go shot for shot. I'll lead it off with an outright from the top. You can mention a guy that you already mentioned too. It's not that deep. So I'm going to start with JJ Spawn, 28-1. Like I said, this man has been just fucking since March, gaining on approach, and he's not scared to make birdies. Not going to overthink it. Let's go with JJ, 28.
I'm going to go right back to my Keith Mitchell, 33-1. Just feel like the value's too good to pass up. Too good to pass up.
40-1, Rico Horry, second man on the betting card. I just think what he's doing with the putter is huge for his game. He's a great ball striker, and he hits the ball a mile. Should be confident heading to a Spanish-speaking country because he derives from that heritage. That is my take on Rico Horry.
Since are we still doing outrights, or can I throw a placement in there?
Yeah, you could do a placement. I'm gonna go. I have 3 outrights, then placement and a matchup. So you can.
I'll just do my next outright since we're probably going to double up here, but Joe Highsmith 70-1.
Okay. Yeah, then that's my final one too. Joe Highsmith, everything that Dom said, and I like what he's done on Pass Ballum in the past. He's done it on a resort course before. 70-1, Joe Highsmith. So all right, lead us off with positional, or however many you got.
I'm going literally right back to where I was about 60 seconds ago or whatever it was. Joel Damon, top 40.
I like that a lot.
Man. I think that's my favorite placement of the week.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, I like that. And I have one placement. This is one's going to surprise you because I mentioned I wasn't going to talk about it. But if Cam fucking Young cannot finish top 10 in this field, I don't know what he's doing with his life. 2-1 on 220 on Cam Young top 10 in this field on this golf course. If you can't do that right now, Cam Young, ejected to the moon, to the sun. You heard it here first. If Cam Young doesn't finish top 10 in this field, I might retire. He's not gonna. So actually rescind that. I rescind that. But I'll do something bad. I'll do something bad.
It's also 2024, so you can't technically bet that.
I can't bet him outright.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
but if he doesn't finish top 10, he might be banned for 2025. So you got to be careful.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I hope he doesn't finish top 25.
It would probably save you in the long run.
Yeah. So my positional is Cam fucking Young, top 10 plus 220. I hope you're listening to this, Cam Young, because if you're listening to this, you're gonna miss it on purpose just to fuck with me. So, you got any other positionals, or that's it?
One other one that I hadn't mentioned earlier is Nick Hardy, top 30 plus 150.
He actually rated out decently well for me too.
Yeah, I kept seeing him when it comes to scoring. Irons have been pretty consistent over the last couple months, so Hardy's always a guy that I tend to go to and see. His outright's down at 80-1, so getting a top 30 at plus 150, top 140, right around even money. So,
all right, and then finally a matchup. I didn't see too many matchups, so I went with like a top nationality one. This one's a total deep cut. Top continental European. Martin Trainer, 14-1. He has to beat Matty Schmid, Henrik Norlander, Paul Barjon, and ADDC. And my thing is, with Schmid, I said, I do not think he's just going to keep up that form. I just think he's going to come back down to earth. And then from there, it's a total, free-for-all. And Martin Trainer, if there's any golf course where he could do it on, he gained 10 strokes putting here last year, and he could bomb it off the tee. Just bomb it and get hot with the putter. That's all I'm asking for. 14-1 to beat 4 golfers. Crazier things have happened. So that's my matchup.
When he won that event back in when was it? 2019. Yeah, Puerto Rico. minus 15. It's not like it was an absolute birdie fest, but I feel like this is the type of course where Trainer can pop if he ever can.
Yeah, if he can. Yeah. So
and that list that you read off isn't like the most intimidating list of golfers that he has to beat.
No, Schmid obviously is a deserving favorite. He's minus 110 to win that. But like I said, we both said, we think he's going to come back down to earth sooner than later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my matchup. Those are my outrights and my positionals. You got any other matchup or anything else?
I got that's all I got. I'm all in on Joel Damon, so I had nothing left to throw in there. I'll probably look at some matchups later on in the week, but
all right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to the First Betting Show. I hope you enjoyed, but this is just a taste. We're going to have a lot more interesting content. This is the fall swing. We're just here to talk, get our bets out. So going forward, let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you need from us. And definitely be sure to follow Dom on Twitter if you don't already. Dom, what is your handle at?
Dom Cinto _11.
All right. So follow him, follow me. Any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And we'll catch you guys next week. But that does it. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you guys on Tuesday. Peace out.
See ya.